Hello, and welcome to this video. This video is for IXL Activity 8.N.1. It is titled Coordinate Plane Review, and the 3-character code for this video is Tango 6 Echo. Tango 6 Echo. So, coordinate plane. We know that a coordinate plane is created by two axes, one horizontal axis that we call the x-axis, and a vertical axis called the y-axis. We have number lines, so each of these lines, we call them number lines because they have numbers on them. So, like here we have positive 1, 2, 3, 4 for the x values, along with negative numbers such as negative 4, negative 5, negative 6, and so forth. And the y-axis also is a number line, having numbers like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and negative numbers as well, like negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, etc. The coordinate plane is divided into 4 quadrants, with quadrant 1 being the quadrant that is to the upper right of the origin, which is the origin is where the y-axis and the x-axis come together. And this quadrant up here is quadrant 1, where all of our x values and all of our y values are positive. Quadrant 2 is here, where all of our x values are negative and y values are positive. Quadrant 3, where all of our x values and all of our y values are both negative. And then quadrant 4, where all of our x values would be positive and all of our y values would be negative. So the first one here, and I went ahead and whenever I created these slides, the points are already graphed for us. You would have to click into them. It says graph the point negative 6, 1 on the coordinate plane. You'll see that that is already graphed there for you. On IXL, you simply find the point and then you're going to click it. So the question is, how do I find these points? How do I know that that would be the correct location for it? And that's what we'll discuss in this video. So they give us a point, and a point is represented by what is called an ordered pair. And we say that it's an ordered pair because it's 2 numbers, so that covers the concept of it being a pair. And then ordered is because the order of these numbers does matter. We know that we have an x value and a y value. The x precedes the y, so they're an ordered pair is 2 numbers separated by a comma and contained inside of parentheses. And an ordered pair shows us a location on the coordinate plane. So the first value, negative 6, shows us our x value, and the 1 shows us our y value. So we would start from the origin and go over to negative 6, and we would start from the origin and go to positive 1. So in that case there, where these two intersect, so negative 6 is right along this axis here, and this line here is where y is positive 1. So right where the two of those intersect is where we would graph that point. So negative 6, 1 would be there at that location. Another way to look at that is that we could say, okay, I'm going to go over from the origin. I'm going to go over to negative 6 and then go up to positive 1. On the next one, what are the coordinates of point O? So point O is here. So from the origin, we would go over to negative 3, and then we would go up and see what is the value of y. And at that point there, we see that the value of y is, in this case, 3. So we have the value of x for point O. The value of x is negative 3, and the value of y is positive 3. So we put the x first, negative 3, and the y value, positive 3. So the coordinates of point O is negative 3, 3. Which point is at negative 2, negative 2? So we need to go over to x is negative 2, right here, and y is negative 2, so here. So we're looking for the point in which these two lines here, negative 2 for x and negative 2 for y, where they intersect, and we see that indeed it is point A. So our answer would be A. A is the point at which -2 for x and -2 for y intersect. Next line. Which point is at -5, +2? Well, x is negative, y is positive. So where x is negative and y is positive, we know we're looking someplace in quadrant 2, right? So it's going to be W or T. And if we go from the origin over to x is -5, so from the origin over to x is -5, and then y is +2. So if we look over here at +2, so we're looking for right here, x is 5, and right here, y is -2. So I'm getting those numbers from here. -5 right here for x, -2 or +2 plus 2, +2 for y. So where those two intersect happens to be point W. So I'll go ahead and put in point W. Now we need to graph, it looks like 3 points, so we'll graph those 3 points. Again, I've put the answers in already for you, but one way to look at this is I'm going to start kind of highlighting another way. Let's find where x is -8. X is -8 right here. So I don't think I'm online. There we go. So x is -8 right here, and so we took care of the -8, now +1. Y is +1 right here. So we would plot this point right there, and we see that we have our first point. We'll call this point A. So with that said, we know that this here is point A. Now, -5, x is -5, y is +10. So let's find x is -5. That's right here, correct? So we know that this line right here is x is -5, and then y is +10. So here's +10 right here for y, and so we'd be up along this here. So we're going to have to extend this line here to go up through there, and we see that indeed this spot right here, and we'll call that point B. This here would be point B, so we have -5, 10 graph there. Let's erase that. All right, around there. Well, I could probably erase that because it's already on there. And then finally, we have x is 9, y is -9. So let's find the x is 9. Here's 9 right here, so it's going to be somewhere along this line where x is 9. And then y is -9, finding -9 right here. We realize that it's going to be where those two lines intersect. So we'll call this point C right there, and indeed this would be where x is -9, matching up with the -9 here on the number line, and the +9 for x, and the -9 for y. This would be our point C. Now we're getting into decimals, so we have like 8.5, so that should be halfway in between 8 and 9, right? And 7.5, -7.5, it's going to be right in between -7 and -8. And -3.5 is going to be right in between, that's right, -3 and -4. So let's go ahead and find those. So our first one that we would graph is 8.5 for x, so here is 8, here's 9, so right in between is going to be our 8.5 for x, and then -7, here's -7, right in between -6 and -8, and we see that this point here, we'll call this point A. So we would have graphed that. Erase our lines there. Kind of clean that up for the next one. And then the next one is 3 and 7. So where x is 3, here we have x is 3, and y is 7, so we know it's going to be positive. So we'd look up in this first quadrant here. and then where y is 7. Notice that those cross right there. So this point right here, we'll go ahead and call that point B. And so this is where we would have graphed that point of 3, 7. Make some lines here. And next, let's look at the next one. Negative 7.5 and positive 0.5. So x is negative 7.5, so we're going to start here at the origin, go down here till we find 7.5, which is going to be right, and here's 6, here's 8, so this is 7, so halfway between 7 and 8 would be right here, so it's going to be somewhere along here. And then 0.5, so y value of 0.5, well here's 0, here's 1, so right in between, right there, would be a y value of positive 0.5. And this point here is graphed for us already. We'll call this point C. So we have point C graphed there. And then finally, for the last one, we're looking at an x value of negative 3. So let's find negative 3. It's going to be right in between. Oh, undo. We're going to erase that. Go back to our line. So 3 is going to be right in between negative 3. I'm sorry. It's going to be right in between negative 2 and negative 4. So it's going to be somewhere on that line there. And then negative 3.5. So we go down to negative 1, 2, 3, right in between negative 2 and negative 4. And then negative 3.5 is going to be right in between negative 3 and negative 4. So that's going to be right here. So we're looking along that. And indeed, we do have an intersection there. We'll call this point D. And that's where that fourth point would be. Going to erase those lines there. So for this one here, remember the points won't be there for your activity. They're asking you to plot these points. So remember, find the x value, find the y value, see where they intersect at, and then that's where your points get plotted. What are the coordinates of point S? Write your coordinates as whole numbers or decimals rounded to the nearest 5/10, or like half of 1, correct? So point S, we're looking at this one right here. So if we take a couple lines and run them right through point S, we're looking, what do we end up with? Let's see where they land on the x-axis and on the y-axis. Remember, it's an ordered pair, so order matters. We need to do the x value first. So with that in mind, let's see, what is our x value right here at this point? Well, here's negative 2, and here's negative 3, so this must be a negative 2.5. So we'll put negative 2.5. And then for our y value, well, we have 3, negative 3, and we have negative 4, so right in between must be negative 3.5. So we'll put in negative 3.5. So the coordinates for point S are x has a value of negative 2.5, and the y value is negative 3.5. Remember, x first, y second. Two numbers separated by a comma contained inside of parentheses. And my final question, or final example for this activity, what are the coordinates of point N? So let's find N. Here's N right there. So we need to write your coordinate as a whole number or decimal rounded to the nearest 5/10. So point N is what we're looking at right here. Well, we see that indeed it is on a line, and that line matches up with negative 2 for the x, because we read the x first. So we have negative 2, and then let's see where it lines up with the y-axis. Running through here, it goes right through there, and right in between negative 4 and negative 5 would be negative 4.5. So our y value is negative 4.5. Remember, find the x value, then find the y value. X always comes before y, and the x-axis here is where we're going to get all of our values for x, and then this axis here is our y-axis, and it's along this axis that we'll get all of our values for our value of y. Those are all of my examples for IXL 8.N.1 titled Coordinate Plane Review. Good luck with your activity.